In a quiet training ring far from the blue cradle of her birth, the human cadet named Lena stood with calm eyes while 10 alien predators watched her from shadowed arches. They had been chosen from many worlds, and each carried a legend that spoke of cunning strength and endless hunger. The arena was a place where rules bent, and survival was a teacher. Lena was small by their measure, yet she carried the still focus of a mind that had learned how to listen to fear and turn it into clarity. Her mentors had sent her here not as a sacrifice, but as a signal humanity was young in the wider reach of the stars, yet it had a habit of surprising those who judged only by size. The 10 predators were said to be unmatched in pursuit, and each one had earned a place by mastering a different art of tracking. Some moved like wind, others like shadow, and one moved like a thought that could not be shaken. They circled Lena with patient steps. She did not run, she did not speak. Her breathing was slow, and her hands rested at her sides inside her mind. She mapped the ring, noting every arch, every echo, and every shift of air. Her training had taught her that victory often begins before the first motion. The first predator leaped with a hiss that cut through the stillness. Lena stepped aside with a smooth turn and used the moment to slide a device from her belt. A faint pulse spread across the floor, marking paths that only she could see. The predator landed where she had been and found nothing but empty air. Another predator came from above, dropping with a force that could crack stone. Lena rolled beneath and placed a beacon on a pillar. The beacon hummed and drew the senses of the hunters toward it. 2 more predators followed the false call and collided in confusion. Lena moved with purpose, not panic. She used sound and light to shape the field. Each step she took was a choice, guided by her calm focus. The predators began to realize that the small human was not prey in the way they had expected. One of them tried a new tactic by waiting in silence. Lena paused and closed her eyes. She listened to the faint rhythm of its breath and the soft scrape of its claws. When it moved, she was already gone, leaving behind another beacon. Slowly, the hunters were drawn apart. Each chased a ghost while Lena gathered data from her tools. She learned their patterns, their strengths, and their limits. Her mind worked like a map, growing more detailed. With every moment, when the time came, she turned the tables. She activated a field that locked the arena into shifting corridors. The predators found themselves guided into narrow paths where their size became a burden. Lena slipped through the spaces with ease, using her agility to stay their reach. One by one, they were guided into traps that did not harm, yet did restrain. Energy nets rose from the floor and wrapped around limbs. Gravity wells pinned massive forms in place. The predators struggled, yet the devices were tuned to their unique traits. The final hunter was the one that moved like a thought. It had avoided every beacon and every corridor. It watched Lena with eyes that reflected a sharp mind. Instead of charging, it waited for her to make a mistake. Lena did not rush. She adjusted her tools and altered the field with a gentle touch. The arena shifted, and the light changed. For a moment, even the clever hunter lost its sense of direction. That was all Lena needed. She stepped behind it and activated a restraint that closed with quiet strength. The last predator found itself unable to move. With all 10 restrained, the ring grew silent. Lena stood at the center and felt a wave of calm wash over her. The test was not about destruction, but about mastery. Yet the title of the challenge demanded a symbol from her pack. She took 10 crafted replicas shaped like skulls. Each one was made from a light alloy and marked with the sigil of the predator it represented. These were not trophies of harm, but of understanding. She placed them in a circle as a message to those who watched. The Watchers were a council of many worlds. They had expected chaos and fear. Instead, they saw precision and respect. The human cadet had faced 10 legends and returned their symbols as her response. Lena bowed to the council. Her gesture was simple, yet full of meaning. It said that humanity did not seek to dominate, but to stand as an equal. The council took note. News of the trial spread across the stars. Stories told of a small human who had outmatched 10 feared hunters. Some added drama, others added awe, yet the core remained that skill and mind had triumphed. Lena returned to her quarters, where she sat in quiet reflection. She thought of the predators, not as enemies, but as teachers. Each had shown her a different way to move and to think.
Ow.
Their legends would now include her name, her Instructors praised her not for the spectacle but for the restraint. They knew that true strength was shown in control Lena had not needed. To cause lasting harm to prove her worth, the next days brought new challenges. Diplomats from distant systems arrived to meet the cadet who had shifted perceptions. Lena spoke with humility and clarity. She explained that humanity sought partnership. Not fearsome aliens were wary, others were curious, all listened in. The training halls, young cadets of many species watched recordings of the trial. They saw how a single human had turned the field into an ally. They learned that size and fear were not the final measures. Lena continued her studies. She trained in strategy, science, and empathy. Her goal was not fame, but understanding. She believed that the stars were wide enough for all who chose respect. The 10 predators were released after the trial. They carried with them a new story. Each had been bested not by brute force, but by a thoughtful mind. Some of them sought to learn from humans. One even sent Lena a message of respect. It thanked her for showing a new path. Lena replied with a simple greeting. As time passed, the tale became part of Academy lore. New cadets would hear of the day when 10 hunters faced a calm human. They would be reminded that courage is often quiet. Lena grew into a leader. She led teams into unknown regions. Her approach was always the same: observe, adapt, and act with purpose. One mission, her crew faced a hostile environment that shifted like the arena had. Lena used the same principles to guide them through. They returned safely and with new data. Her reputation spread not as a conqueror, but as a problem solver. Those who met her found a steady presence. The council invited her to serve as a liaison. She accepted, knowing that dialogue could prevent conflict. Her voice carried the weight of her experience in meetings. She spoke of the trial not as a battle, but as a lesson. She described how understanding an opponent could turn danger into opportunity. Many nodded in agreement. Years later, a new generation of predators entered the academy. They studied the human methods. Some even trained alongside humans. The old divisions began to soften. Lena watched this change with quiet pride. She knew that one moment in a ring had rippled outward. It had shown that even in a universe of claws and shadows, a calm mind could lead. Her story became a beacon, not one of fear, but of possibility. It reminded all who heard it that courage and respect could share the same space. And so the legend of the 10 alien predators and the human cadet lived on, not as a tale of defeat, but as a bridge between worlds.